Okay, so we're going to be talking about dividing decimals. This is the first video and the division is going to be relatively straightforward, where the divisor, or the number on the bottom, is actually going to be a whole number. Okay, what I mean by that is, let's say we had a word problem. So for instance, one of the more popular ones would be something like you have a rectangle which is, let's say, 6.5 meters squared, so 6.5 meters area. You might know one of the dimensions, so the width is 2 meters, and the question might be to ask you the height. So in other words, we need to work out this dimension here. Okay, so we know that the area of something is the width multiplied by the height. So what we could do, and quite legitimately, is to use a trial and error formula. So in other words, something multiplied by 2 equals 6.5. Well, that something, let's say as a guess, we're going to say it's 3. So 3 multiplied by 2 equals, it's actually 6. So unfortunately 3 isn't right, because we need to achieve 6.5. So what we need to do now is refine that 3 and make it just a little bit better to multiply. So let's say we'll say 3.2 multiplied by 2. Well, 3.2 multiplied by 2 is 6.4. So there's 6.4. Well, it's not a bad guess, but it's not quite there, because we still need to achieve 6.5. So I'm going to say now, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger than 3.2. Let's say 3.25 multiplied by 2. Well, 3.25 multiplied by 2 is 6.5. Brilliant. So in other words, 3.25 is the value of the height of this particular rectangle. And it is perfectly legitimate to use trial and error. The thing about it is it does take a fair bit of time to do something like this. So what I'm going to do is show you 2 other methods of doing it, which hopefully will be a little bit quicker and a little bit simpler for you. One of the ways really is to recognise that what we have to do is divide 6.5 by 2. Now the way that works is to use algebra. So if you look at one of the other videos, it'll tell you quite a bit about how to manipulate an equation, algebraic equation. What we're saying is that this 2 times h equals 6.5. So in other words, if I want to work out the value of h, what I have to do is divide both sides by 2. So if I divide this side by 2, I just get h. If I divide this side by 2, I get 6.5 divided by 2. So there we are, that's the calculation that we need to achieve. And as I mentioned before, the divisor, the bit at the bottom, is a whole number. Okay, so the common way of doing this is to do short division. And again, if you look at one of the other videos, there are some examples of how to do short division. But basically it's to rewrite it and to say, how many lots of 2 are there in 6.5? Well, 2 into 6 is 3, so I can put my 3 there. And I've got nothing left over. So now I go to the next number. 2 into 5, well 2 times 2 is 4, so I've got 2 there. Now I've still got 1 left over, because 5 take away 4 still leaves me with 1, so I still have to do that. So what I'm going to do is put another 0 in place. So that 1 then passes on to that 0, and my question is, how many lots of 2 are there in 10? Well, there's 5. So I'm still achieving 3.25, the same answer. And short division is one of the ways in which you can calculate this. The other final way of doing it is to use the concept of equivalent fractions. Now the way to do that is to look at 6.5 divided by 2 and actually say, well really it's much easier for me to divide by 10 than it is to divide by 2. So what I'm going to do is multiply the top and the bottom by 5, because if I do that, then the bottom will become 2 and the top will become a number that I can then divide very easily by 10. So 6.5 top and bottom multiplied by 5. So 6.5 multiplied by 5 is actually 32.5, and the bottom 2 times 5 is 10. Now to get that 32.5 you might need to do a bit of short multiplication to do that. I happen to know it's true because I know that if I move my decimal point to divide by 10, then my answer is going to be, guess what? 32.5. So really it doesn't matter which method you use, providing you practice that method and get very quick with it. And when you see these sorts of calculations and you're dividing by a whole divisor, it's relatively straightforward. If you look at the next video, that talks about how to divide by a divisor which is also a decimal place divisor.